On your side.
From ABC, this is World News Sunday. Here's Carol Simpson.
Good evening. The people of Petaluma, California are doing something tonight they had hoped they wouldn't have to do. They're mourning a 12-year-old girl who was abducted from a slumber party in her home by a knife-wielding stranger. The kidnapper is now in custody and Polly Klaas's body has been recovered. As ABC's Brian Rooney reports, the police are still searching for clues. The community is wondering why the crime ever was committed.
This morning, investigators were still working over the area where Polly Klaas's body was found. But already there was a small shrine for the 12-year-old girl as mourners left flowers and candles at the door of the center where volunteers had worked around the clock to find her.
We just knew Polly was coming home. Just knew she was coming home. And then this.
This is a small town coming to grips with the idea that the problems of the world have come to the front door. It's as if Petaluma lost its innocence the night 2 months ago when Polly Klaas was snatched at knife point from her bedroom.
Mark Klaas said in a statement this morning, "I want to thank everyone there for praying and support. I want to say to every parent everywhere, please protect your children."
Authorities said the suspect they've been holding, Richard Allen Davis, gave them the information that led them to Polly Klaas's body 30 miles from where she lived. The case finally broke last week when Davis, a man twice convicted of kidnapping, was arrested for drunk driving. On Friday, police revealed that a palm print taken from Polly Klaas's bedroom matched Davis's hand. Yesterday, they said, Davis decided to tell them where the body was. The name of Polly Klaas has quickly become a cry of outrage that this sort of thing would happen to a child and that a man with Davis's record could be free on parole.
I think the anger is that this can happen over and over again in this country, that repeat offenders are let go.
Many of the volunteers who spent so much of their time in the search for Polly Klaas vow that they will carry on in her name in the search for other missing children in America. Brian Rooney, ABC News, Petaluma, California.
It's been a banner day for NASA and for the astronauts aboard the Space Shuttle Endeavour. Their first spacewalk to begin repairs on the crippled Hubble Space Telescope, which they snatched from orbit yesterday, was a big success. And as ABC's Jim Slade reports, it also lasted a lot longer than expected.
After the first spacewalk, Hubble was much improved, but the astronauts were worse for the wear. Jeff Hoffman and Story Musgrave left the shuttle's cabin an hour early and found enough to do to stay outside nearly 2 hours more than planned. They installed 2 new sets of the gyroscopic stabilizers that position Hubble accurately. 3 of its original 6 had died, putting the telescope close to losing control.
Okay, that's good stuff.
Then the astronauts installed the equipment's electronics. Ground checks made while the crewmen were near enough to make corrections proved the systems were working.
Oh, now we're in trouble.
Things got tense when they tried to close the equipment bays. Even though the astronauts struggled repeatedly, the door latches wouldn't come together. Finally, they improvised, winching them shut with a cargo strap far enough to bolt them closed.
We had some problems with the closing the door because of some thermal expansion. They're seeing a different thermal or temperature environment in the shuttle bay than they do in space.
They were back in the cabin after a total of 7 hours and 55 minutes in the vacuum, the second longest spacewalk in U.S. history. The second step comes tonight when astronauts Kathy Thornton and Tom Akers take their turn installing a new set of solar panel wings on Hubble. That delicate operation is likely to take the entire 6 hours set aside for the second spacewalk. Jim Slade, ABC News, Houston.
While the current Endeavour mission appears to be going well, questions about booster rocket performance in the Endeavour's January launch have spawned several investigations, including one by ABC's 2020. Some NASA insiders are so concerned about the booster rockets that they think the space shuttle is little more than a death trap. More from Tom Jarrell.
The big booster rockets for the shuttle are tested and built at the Thiokol plant in Utah, and then used by NASA to launch the shuttle into orbit.
And liftoff of the Space Shuttle Endeavour with NASA.
After the launch of the Endeavour in January, NASA engineers discovered an unusually high pressure buildup called a spike had occurred in one of the 2 boosters. Sudden pressure in one engine can be a threat to the spacecraft and its crew. The spike approached NASA's maximum safety limit. NASA began an immediate high-level investigation. This roster from one of the nearly 30 meetings showed senior engineers and managers from government and private concerns were present at the brainstorming sessions. The engineers concluded, in a worst-case scenario, the pressure spike could go well beyond the safety limits. This rocket scientist, who talked to ABC News on the basis of protecting his identity, believes NASA is looking at a possible catastrophe.
Every time the shuttle is launched, it could potentially exceed the control limits.
Our source in Shadow was identified in a report by the New York Times as Frank Jordan, who's now given us permission to use his name. Jordan's an aeronautical engineer with more than 30 years of experience. He told the Times the shuttle fleet should be grounded because it's, quote, death-threatening. NASA insists it's following a safe course.
We got a very powerful rocket motor, and there's nothing wrong with it.
These documents obtained by ABC News show the study group found the pressure spikes were increasing in both frequency and magnitude. Confronted by their own findings, NASA elected to obtain safety waivers to keep the shuttle flying. The Times reported NASA considers Jordan's criticism as sour grapes, since his company recently lost its NASA contract. And Joe Lombardo, vice president of Thiokol, believes his company's rockets are safe.
Is this threatening to the shuttle crew or the safety of the shuttle? Absolutely not.
As the technical debate continues, so have the launches. Tom Jarrell, ABC News, Washington.
Tom Jarrell will have more on this story on the ABC News Magazine 2020 this Friday night. Coming up, disturbing medical studies about the transmission of AIDS between children. And later in this broadcast, why the Clinton administration is treating North Korea's latest offer over nuclear inspections with caution. And like father, like son, going for the gold on the run.
World News Sunday, brought to you by Pepto-Bismol.
A puzzle. With so many stomach remedies around, how do you know which you can take for heartburn? And for diarrhea? And for upset stomach? You take Pepto-Bismol to relieve most any common stomach problem: heartburn, upset stomach, and diarrhea. So who needs anything else? That is a puzzle. Pepto-Bismol's the only one you need.
Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Look to us for special delivery. Call us. We'll arrange to pick you up at your home, office, or repair shop. That's special delivery. That's Enterprise.
Here's a whole other kind of chip.
Chip Shot.
Presto Chip Shot Potato Chipper. Slices so thin they gotta be crisp. Regular or ripple.
Chip Shot.
Fry them up. Even microwave for a light, no-fat chip. Flavor them the way you like.
Chip Shot.
From Presto.
There is disturbing news tonight about children and AIDS. 2 new and apparently rare cases of children transmitting AIDS to other children have been documented. And because of pressure from the news media, the scientists who investigated those cases are releasing their findings earlier than they'd planned. Details from ABC's Karen Burns.
It was the specter of AIDS that kept public health officials silent. Not wishing to alarm the public, they were waiting to carefully release new evidence that the HIV virus may have been transmitted in an unlikely setting, the home. But recent news reports forced authors of a study, soon to be published in the New England Journal of Medicine, to publicly confirm that the AIDS virus had been transmitted from one child to another. A separate report due to be released by the Centers for Disease Control says a hemophiliac teenager gave the virus to his brother. In both cases, the transmission route appeared to be external, most likely via blood. Transmission of the HIV virus in the home has rarely been documented before, but the virus has been linked to contaminated blood in hospital settings. And that, says the CDC, is probably what happened here.
I think it's important to realize that we don't believe that these represent some new kind of transmission route. We've known for many years that blood can transmit HIV. We have many examples in the healthcare setting.
Those who care for children with AIDS have known for years that blood can be dangerous and have always taken precautions like using gloves and bleach to wipe up blood.
It's never stopped us from hugging babies or kissing them or smooching with them.
It hasn't?
No, nor will it.
Public health officials insist that the 2 cases they've discovered are extremely rare and were not caused by casual contact. This is not, they insist, any reason to change public policy, nor to treat people with AIDS any differently. Karen Burns, ABC News, New York.
Dr. Timothy Johnson is ABC's medical editor, and he's in our Boston bureau. Tim, as Karen Burns just reported, public health officials are saying that this should not change our public policy on AIDS. So what should we make of these reports?
Well, I think the instinct to say we will not change public policy is a good one, because that public policy has always been designed to prevent blood or body fluid transmission from one person to another. And in these 2 cases that we have, that is the teenage hemophiliac brothers and the younger brothers living together in a foster home situation, there apparently was blood-to-blood transmission. At least that's what we know now until we get full reports. And so in this particular case, or in these 2 cases, nothing has really changed to change our policy. In the one case, there was the use of a razor that could have transmitted blood to blood. In the other case, nosebleeds onto open skin wounds with a younger brother that had eczema. The public policy now would be to try to prevent those transmissions, and clearly they should have been prevented in these home situations if ideal care was being provided.
It would seem that many parents might be alarmed. Are there special precautions that should be taken in the home now as a result of these cases that are not being taken care of now?
Well, we have many, many studies that show that casual transmission of the AIDS virus in the home does not occur. That is, through the air or by sharing eating utensils or by sharing the same toilet under normal circumstances. We should always be concerned, whether it's in the home or in a daycare center or in the hospital, to prevent blood and body fluid transmission from one person to another. So I would say that if parents in these kinds of home situations, or workers in a daycare setting, or workers in a hospital setting are not preventing blood or body fluid transmission, they should change their practices, and that's what needs to be done in any setting.
Thank you very much. Dr. Timothy Johnson reporting from Boston. In other news, in today's Los Angeles Times, President Clinton says he is considering a push for a national gun licensing system and that he supports a ban on a wide array of assault weapons. Meanwhile, the FBI reported today that the number of serious crimes declined slightly in the first 6 months of this year, down 3% from the same period in 1992. And the number of property crimes dipped by 5%. But FBI Director Louis Freeh says the new statistics aren't likely to give Americans much comfort, since the level of violent crime and drug trafficking remains so staggeringly high. When we come back, why Arab-Israeli violence is on the rise, even as the much-heralded peace agreement is about to go into effect.
Here at the Postal Service, they call me Santa Claus. This is my workshop. I'm in charge of priority mail, which is mostly gifts this time of year. Look, one of Santa's little helpers. For as little as $2.90, you get special fast handling of your holiday packages. We even have flying reindeer. It feels real good helping people enjoy the holidays.
In just 1 year, something happened to 640 million pounds of chemical pollutants. Instead of becoming waste, they were captured for recycling. The members and partners of the Chemical Manufacturers Association, working for change.
Every second of an asthma attack can feel like an eternity. That's why there's Primatene Mist. Primatene opens clogged breathing tubes fast when speed counts. Primatene Mist, fastest type asthma relief without a prescription.
You mean if I call my son in college the Most, Sprint pays half?
Now there's a new reason to switch to the Most.
What if I told you he goes to college in Japan?
No problem. Call anyone, anywhere, anytime, and Sprint will split the bill on the person you call most.
I don't suppose there's anything you could do about his tuition bill.
Sorry, we have to draw the line somewhere.
Call now and save 50% with Sprint's calling plan, The Most.
Let's look in the Dirty Dictionary under E. Espresso Meso, the coffee grinds you've spilled on the kitchen floor. Dustbuster, that which is lightweight, cordless, and cleans up dirt fast and easy. Dustbuster, the definition of quick cleanups.
Secretary of State Warren Christopher took his mission to promote Middle East peace to Syria today. After meeting with President Hafez al-Assad, Christopher announced Syria will cooperate in determining the fate of 7 Israeli soldiers missing in action in Lebanon and will grant exit permits by the end of the year to Syrian Jews. Earlier in Jerusalem, Christopher issued a plea for an end to Arab-Israeli violence in the occupied territories. As ABC's Dean Reynolds reports, that violence is on the rise. Peace agreement or no peace agreement?
Police said the lone Palestinian gunman attempted to hijack this bus south of Tel Aviv. The gunman was killed, but not before he shot and killed a reserve soldier. The incident took place just as Secretary of State Warren Christopher was meeting in Jerusalem with Israeli officials, just as he was making a call for an end to what has become chronic Israeli-Palestinian violence.
I urge everyone on all sides to avoid violence.
But fewer and fewer people seem to be paying attention to such pleas. Today in Gaza, those who claim to support PLO Chairman Yasser Arafat were nonetheless demanding that he break his agreement with the Israelis and give a green light to a renewal of the uprising. Among Israelis, those most opposed to the agreement are Jewish settlers in the occupied territories. Over the weekend, the settlers killed one Palestinian. On Friday, as Palestinians lobbed stones at them from a distance, several settlers methodically trained automatic gunfire down a crowded street in the West Bank city of Hebron. 3 settlers have been arrested. The army is investigating why its troops on the scene did nothing to stop the shooting, and the Israeli cabinet is promising to restrain Jewish vigilantes.
Some of those settlers are refusing to accept the democratic rules of the State of Israel.
Polls show Palestinians and Israelis are increasingly disenchanted with the peace agreement due to take effect a week from tomorrow. The Israeli government and some within the PLO now concede that the date for beginning to implement their agreement may have to be delayed. And considering all of the problems they're having on the ground here, that would come as no surprise. Dean Reynolds, ABC News, Tel Aviv.
The continuing showdown with North Korea over its nuclear program took a new twist today. North Korea has softened its position on inspection of its nuclear facilities. The question now is, how will the Clinton administration respond? Here's ABC diplomatic correspondent Barry Dunsmore.
The Clinton administration is treating North Korea's latest offer with great caution.
There are some good things and some bad things, but it's premature to characterize it or to respond to it formally because we're still consulting with our allies.
As the world worried they may have already developed a nuclear weapon, the North Koreans offered to reopen some of their nuclear facilities to international inspectors. That was the good news. The bad news, they did not include the sensitive site at Yongbyon, where plutonium could be separated to make a nuclear bomb. North Korea is the world's only remaining Stalinist state. The prospect of it having nuclear weapons is one which frightens its neighbors and could result in a major nuclear arms race in Asia.
If North Korea had a nuclear bomb, it would certainly trigger Japan to think twice on their nuclear policy. And that will have immense impact on China as well.
Not to mention in South Korea. And so President Clinton must decide how to persuade North Korea to give up its quest for nuclear weapons without giving it a pretext for starting a new war. With nearly 40,000 American troops in the South, that is a war which would again directly involve the U.S. So it is no easy call, especially given North Korea's record.
They've blown planes out of the air. They dig tunnels under the demilitarized zone. They axe murdered our people in '76. You're not dealing with Boy Scouts. You're dealing with very tough cookies.
Experts such as Ambassador Lily caution that it's every bit as dangerous to be too soft on the North Koreans as to be too tough. So when Mr. Clinton sits down this week to consider what next for Korea, he may well be facing the greatest foreign policy challenge of his presidency. Barry Dunsmore, ABC News, the State Department.
Coming up next, Dick Schaap in New York with today's sports news. What do you have for us tonight, Dick?
Everybody needs some money sometime. Everybody needs some cash somehow.
Hello? Rita. It's midnight. I need $500. Now. I'll call Western Union.
Just call 1-800-CALL-CASH, and you can send money from home.
My sometime is now.
Western Union.
Oh, yeah.
The fastest way to send money.
Day after day, you make those glasses of thick Metamucil disappear. Why not make them all disappear with Fibercon? Doctor-recommended Fibercon gives you the same fiber regularity in tablets.
Easy to swallow tablets.
Get doctor-recommended Fibercon.
I'm a little short.
Not so fast, Ron Ryan. These have always brought me luck.
How bad?
White Diamonds, the intriguing fragrance from Elizabeth Taylor. For the holidays, 5 precious parfums, yours for $25.
Salad shooter helps you every day.
How about some cheese for your pizza or perfect salad shooter hash browns for breakfast? Vegetables sliced or shredded, and nothing tops a salad like
Salad shooter
Slicer Shredder from Presto.
helps you every day.
At the holiday season, 2 customers come in and they bring in 30 dozen shortbread cookies for us to package and ship for them.
I do most of the cutting and she does all the finishing touches. And we both watch the oven.
They have to be packaged very carefully.
They don't even jiggle. They don't juggle. They fix them, stabilize them.
They got their all in one piece.
Not even a grain of sugar off.
Big or small, we ship it all at mailboxes, etc.
Dallas is battling to stay atop a red-hot race in the NFC East. They meet their division rival Philadelphia on ABC's Monday Night Football.
Now to New York, Dick Schaap and today's sports news. Dick?
Thank you, Carol. An unfunny thing happened to the Buffalo Bills on their way to a 4th straight Super Bowl. They lost for the 3rd time in 4 games. Jeff Hostetler of the LA Raiders connected 10 times with Tim Brown, this time for the game-winning touchdown. Chicago's defense led the Bears to their 4th straight victory, lifting them into a tie with Green Bay and Minnesota for first place. Dante Jones had an interception that produced 1 touchdown, plus this fumble recovery that produced another touchdown. Houston came from behind for its 7th straight victory, its defense forcing 7 Atlanta turnovers. The key Bobby Hebert's fumble recovered by Ray Childress for a touchdown. And finally, a story of a father and son, both of whom speak gently and run swiftly. When Kip Keino burst upon the international running scene 25 years ago, beating Jim Bryan for the gold medal in the 1,500-meter run in the Mexico City Olympics, he triggered a Kenyan gold rush.
It looks like a Kenyan sweep.
In the past quarter of a century, Kenya, a nation of fewer than 20 million people, has won 11 Olympic gold medals at distances ranging from 800 to 10,000 meters. The father of the Kenyan middle and long-distance running boom, Kip Keino, is also the father of Bob Keino, a tall teenager who is favored to win the Foot Locker National Cross Country Championship for boys, a 5,000-meter race in San Diego next weekend. Does he look like you when you ran?
Yes, it's more or less look like me.
How does that feel?
I feel very much encouraged. I'm proud of him.
Kip, now 53, will watch his 18-year-old son race next week.
How are you, Bob?
I'm just going to run my best and please myself and him, make him proud of me, hopefully.
When Bob Keino was growing up in this Kenyan countryside, which has spawned so many gifted runners, he did not want to race. He gave up the sport. The expectations were too great.
It's the pressure from other people would disturb me when I was younger, but...
Because of the name?
Yeah.
Kip Keino is a monument in Kenya, not only as an athlete, but as a man. He has helped raise more than 100 orphans. He and his wife Phyllis have nourished and educated the children on this farm a couple of 100 miles from Nairobi. Right now, the Keinos have 68 orphans on the farm. They also have 7 children of their own. Do you remember all their names?
I do.
All 75?
All 75.
Bob Keino, the youngest of Kip's 5 sons, came to the U.S. 3 years ago to Ridgewood, New Jersey High School, mainly to prepare himself for college. In Ridgewood, he decided to start running seriously again, and last year he finished 4th in the national championship for boys. Last week, he finished 1st in the Northeast Regional. Now, Bob is thinking of going to Stanford to study computer science and of continuing the Kenyan gold rush his father inspired. He was the best in the world. Do you want to be the best in the world?
I'd love to be, but I don't know. It's hard for me to think about that. I'm still in high school. And, I mean, you always have dreams. So I guess that's one of my dreams.
That is the gift Kip Keino has given all his children, dreams. Carol?
Thanks, Dick. And we'll be back in a moment.
To help relieve your heartburn and give you something your body needs anyway, Tums has calcium.
What does my original Rolaids have?
And aluminum salt.
I think I'll try the calcium. The Tums.
Calcium-rich Tums.
Hey, Ace is a place in Oregon, Illinois, and here's why.
You get more bang for your buck.
Like this Ace 24-piece socket and bid set, just $8.88. Plus stock up on Energizer batteries, all popular sizes.
Hey, Ace is America's place for better values.
The new Norelco razor hugs every contour, every curve, for a shave closer than ever before. Its improved lift and cut system means a perfect shave and the perfect gift. Norelco, our closest shave ever.
For sinus pain and pressure relief, take Tristan Sinus. It contains ibuprofen with 40 million prescriptions, but combined in non-prescription strength with the decongestant doctors recommend most. Tristan Sinus with 2 doctor-recommended medicines.
Finally, at the White House tonight, President and Mrs. Clinton paid tribute to this year's Kennedy Center honorees.
Thank you very much.
Among the artists receiving the award, late-night talk show legend Johnny Carson.
He's channeled that same. If you made Johnny Carson's monologue, you knew you'd made it. Or, in my case, and hundreds of others, that you were in deep trouble.
Also honored were the founder of the Dance Theater of Harlem, Arthur Mitchell, conductor George Schulte, composer Stephen Sondheim, and gospel singer Marion Williams. That's our report this Sunday. Tomorrow on World News Tonight with Peter Jennings, the tale of 2 national parks desperate for repair and a powerful congressman lobbying for his favorite with $9 million of your tax money. I'm Carol Simpson. Have a good week and good night.
This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source.